episode of Swoosher Sweets, and on today's segment, Culture, we have Adrian Morales. So,
what's up, guys?
Start off from the beginning, bro. Introduce yourself to the people.
My name is, as you said, my name is Adrian Morales. I am 26 years old. I'm from Northeast LA. I've grown up skateboarding. Well, I'm sure this isn't a secret. We're here to talk about skateboarding mostly. So I grew up skateboarding pretty much my whole life. I got my first skateboard when I was in elementary school, like 4th or 5th grade or something.
Who got it for you?
My dad. Actually, no. You know what? Sorry. My dad bought me my first pro board. My mom bought me my first board. It was a blank complete. So like everything blank. But yeah, that's me, I guess. Skateboarder, LA native, and attempting to be a small business owner as well.
So why did she buy you the board? Like, did you ask her, or just like a random gift is given to you?
I had this friend. His name was Frankie. I grew up with him. He was always like, I guess a bit of a troublemaker. But I don't know. You know, when you're a kid, you think that shit's cool. And I mean, he was in my eyes, he was cool, and he skated. So like, I used to hang out with him all the time. He was like someone that I looked up to. He was like 2 years older than me, so he was like the older kid. And so he skated, and I would watch him skate, and I thought it was the coolest shit ever. Like, I went right to my mom, like, after watching him a couple times skating, like, yo, I want a skateboard for this Christmas. It was right before the holidays. And so she ended up coming through and getting me that board. But yeah, it was just from that kid, Frankie, actually. There was a couple other skaters, but he was the first friend of mine that I was close with that skated. So that's what ended up, I just wanted to be like the older cool kid, so that's kind of how it started, and it just went from there.
Got you. What was your experience when you first got on the board? Like, what did you feel?
Oh man, it's been so long, I can't really remember. I remember it being a lot harder than I wanted it to be. I struggled. I mean, I mentioned that I started skating in elementary school. Like, I wasn't landing kickflips well into middle school, yeah, it was just hard. They made it, good skaters, especially because as soon as I got the skateboard, I started watching skate videos, going to the local skate shop, buying like DVDs and VHSs, watching skate videos and stuff. And it always looked so easy, and it always got you so hyped to go out and go skate and go like jump off a stair set. But as soon as you actually stand on the board, like, it was work. It was fun, and like the closer I got to like learning ollies, the more fun it became. But I remember it just being like, I wanted to be part of this thing so badly, like just part of the culture. It was just so fucking cool. And I remember I struggled the first couple of years, honestly. Like, I wasn't, I had friends that started skating after me that were learning kickflips before me, and like I remember that just like, I was a kid, things are different now. I'm not like looking to like be better than other people, but at the time I saw that as like my motivation to be like, I gotta skate more, and I gotta actually improve, or else, I'm not gonna be able to keep up.
That was interesting. Like,
Yeah.
It motivated you. I thought you were actually going to say it's like kind of made you a little jealous.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, like as a kid, being a fucking kid, man, like, damn, that's a lifetime ago. But yeah, as a kid, like, yeah, that jealousy, you see the kid that started after you doing kickflips, like, you're like, man, I gotta freaking learn, that's the jealousy turns into determination, as sad as it is. But dude, I don't feel bad. Like, I was fucking, I don't even know, 8 years old or something. I don't even remember. Yeah, so. But yeah, I just remember it being hard as hell. It still is. I still suck. I still suck at skating, dude. It's the most humbling activity, like you just have it some days, and other days you just don't. But yeah, I just remember it being harder than what it looked like.
What shoes were you wearing when you first started skateboarding?
My first like official skate shoes, for skating were Globes. So like, dude, there were these chunky, I couldn't even tell you what model they were, to be completely honest. But they were these just fat gray Globe shoes. I want to say they were either like a Rodney Mullen like pro model or colorway or something. But I remember, again, dude, just being a kid at the time, like Rodney Mullen was the skater, like he was like just next, still is, you know, even as a grown up, like he's still the best of all time. But that was a huge influence, and I ended up going to, like, I don't even remember, like the mall or something with my mom, and just seeing his name on a shoebox. And I was like, I want those, and those are the ones I ended up getting. So Globes were the first shoes that I ever skated. Yeah. So
through your adolescence, what would you say was like the time span when you started to advance the most in skateboarding?
It was probably in high school, man, honestly. Like, in elementary school, I was just getting started and just learning, like, tricks, or just learning the basics, learning how to ride the board, like, learning how to not ride Mongo, you know, that also went well.
So you're a Mongo pusher.
I started off a Mongo pusher, but now the way I see it, I'm just really good at pushing switch now, so. So, no, I started off pushing Mongo, so yeah, it wasn't until like a year or two after I started skating that I you know, learned, you know, from the grapevine that was a no-no in skateboarding. So like as soon as I found that out, that's what I was focused on learning, is how to actually ride the board correctly. But no, man, I would say in high school was when I was like the most into it. In middle school, I was into skateboarding. I also got into like guitar, so I was playing guitar a lot, and so like I would split the time between skating and guitar. 60-40, I'd play guitar mostly, but it wasn't until high school I fucking stopped playing guitar because I sucked at it just as bad as I did at skating. So I was like, I'm just gonna focus on one thing to suck at. So in high school, like freshman year, that's when I started hanging out with like the crew at Lincoln. We went to the same high school, and so I started focusing on skating a little bit more, and I think that was my peak. Maybe, I don't know if I still got it in me to peak anymore, but I think high school was probably my peak in skateboarding, just because I didn't have any responsibilities outside of school, you know? Yeah, so high school it is.
How was it like in high school for you?
High school in general, or skating in high school, or just?
We could go with both.
I guess in general, I liked high school, man. I mean, I don't know. Looking back at it, it's like, it's not like, oh, I want to go back to high school. Like, it also wasn't like I'm having a great time now, not being in high school. But it's just like, it's a cliche. But like, people, when you're in high school, grown-ups tell you, oh, enjoy this time. You know, like you think you got it hard now, just wait until you're in the real world. And that's like, you know, obviously it's a cliche, but there's reality in that, you know? So like, now I look back at my high school times, it was just so careless. It was good, man. I wasn't like popular or anything, or like, but I was like, I had a good crew of friends, and that's all you could really ask for, is a good group of friends that also enjoy what you enjoy doing, which was skateboarding. And you know, that's overall, dude, high school was, I had a good time. We went to the same high school. How'd you like Lincoln?
We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, man. I mean, I could only imagine, dude. I mean, like, Lincoln is just, it's an interesting high school, you know?
I would say this. I can't say I had a bad experience or a good experience. I'm just saying, like, everyone goes to their own shit, bro.
Yeah, man. High school is a weird time for anyone.
Yeah,
you know? That's just a weird age, you know. You're going through it for sure. You're figuring it out, man. You're like you're understanding what life is all about and shit, and you're still like just learning how to fucking talk, let alone, you know, keep all your grades up and do all your fucking shit, you know. So high school was overall, I liked it. I didn't hate it. You know, I made all of my closest friends in high school. I don't keep in touch with really anyone from elementary school or middle school, but all my close high school friends I still keep in touch with, including you. Kind of, even though we haven't seen each other for 3 years, but we'll just, whatever, man. I mean, I'd like to think, whatever. 3 years, I mean, it feels like it hasn't been that long anymore.
No, it really
we
hasn't,
haven't changed.
Bro.
Yeah.
So, are you the sole owner of IDS, or is it like a partnership?
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess to ease into that, like, I've always felt like I've owed this debt to skateboarding. Because it brought me like so many opportunities, even though I like, obviously, like I mentioned before, like I'm not like the best skater ever, but like I always wanted to be a part of skateboarding and stick with it. So I always, at the very least, what skateboarding gave me, besides all the fun times with friends and all the memories, is like this like idea, or like this, like it gave me a path, you know, like no matter what, I want to stick with skateboarding. I want to work in the skateboard industry. Like I want to show, you know, I want to give the gift of skateboarding to people. Also very cliche, but like that's what I want to do with my life, is because, you know, I mean, fucking people who are really into basketball do the same thing. People that are really into football and or like other sports like do that. And with skateboarding, skateboarding is a little bit different, but I think it, you know, just not a lot of people know about it. And so what I want to do is like kind of share what skateboarding is really is about, and keep skateboarding in the hands of skateboarders. You know, like it's 2020, as you mentioned. I'm in the process of opening up a skate shop in LA. It's an interesting time for retail. It's just an interesting time in general, but skate shops are necessary in skateboarding. Like that is just, there's no way around that. You need skate shops to have a vibrant scene in the local area. And so I want to, you know, if no one's doing it the way that I see it should be done in my local area, which is Lincoln Heights, where we grew up, I want to be the person to do that. I just want to make sure that skateboarding stays in the right hands and that it's represented correctly, and it's not being done, you know, for reasons other than to just give back to the community and to just show kids what skating is all about. You know, it really is like a positive thing, and it, you know, it can get you places, but like I never ever want to, you know, tell people, you know, lie to anyone and say that it's not about fucking running from cops and hopping fences and like being you know, it's a nice mix. You know, it's super positive. It keeps you off the streets, but it also keeps you into trouble in a cool way. Like it's just like, dude, it's just that's what art is, you know. It's like I've never really wanted to designate skateboarding as an art or a sport or anything like that, but it's so complicated and complex that I want to make sure that I try my best to represent skateboarding correctly and help kids in my community, honestly. So yeah, I'm doing all that by myself. that ramble that I just went on with. I've always wanted to do something, give back to my community that's done so much for me. And so I'm doing that by myself right now. I'm doing as much as I can right now, but I do plan to, like, you know, hire like help hopefully down the line. But yeah, so we just secured a space. We are like renovating. We're like knee deep in renovations right now. It's looking really good. We plan to open before the end of the month officially, but it's also 2020 and it's a weird time. So like, we don't plan on having like this grand opening event. We're gonna probably do, you know, we're gonna try to do our best to get around it, but at the same time, we're not trying to like pretend nothing's going on and that this isn't a weird time. We're trying to help the community, not add harm, or, you know. So we don't want to have like this big grand opening. But yes, to answer your question, right now it's just me. Hopefully down the line we can get a nice like crew together to help out with the shop.
So what does skate culture mean to you personally?
Skate culture, it means something. It's different for everybody. To me, it's like a mixture of it's very complicated. It's hard to say in like one sentence, but to me, skate culture at its essence is like a big part of it is like defiance, you know, like you go against, you know, team sports. You go against like taking that no trespassing sign seriously. Like you go against what the laws are in terms of like skating at certain spots. Like you go against, you know, those stairs are for walking. They're not for skating down. The handrail is for holding, not for grinding, you know. So like I think at its essence, skateboarding is a bit about defiance, but that doesn't necessarily like make it a bad thing. It's just I just think that's like kind of what is at the heart of skateboarding and like skate culture, you know. I think it's a little bit different now because now skate culture and pop culture are like
integrated.
Not only, yeah, they're not just starting to mesh, like they're pretty much meshed. So there is that kind of like, that's why I say it's different to everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because that stuff, like, well, there's some things wrong with it when you don't do it correctly. But in terms of just getting skateboarding out there to more people, like, overall it's a positive thing, and like I encourage anyone who wants to learn how to skate to do it and to get into skateboarding because it's so fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know where I was going with that. The way I see it is skateboarding culture, like at its root, it's kind of like Defiance. Yeah, so history's shown that like skateboarding has gone, like there's so many up and downs with skateboarding just in terms of popularity and like its place in pop culture. Like the big brands and companies, like non-endemic companies, come into it wanting to just get their piece of the pie, and then as soon as it's not cool anymore, they up and leave. But right now, I think it's pretty much as popular as it's ever been, skateboarding, and so that does go a little bit against what I said about Defiance, because we're always, I guess, skate culture at its core is about going against the grain, and now it's the cool thing to do. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean shit. Like, if you're a skateboarder and like you love skateboarding, you're always going to have that bit of Defiance in you, in my opinion. The way that I see it is like, if you're a true skateboarder, you're going to want to go out and light up spots at night and go film and go with your homies and hop some fences and run from cops, and like, that's just a part of it the way that I see it.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. I'm just like, I feel like in the core of skateboarding, it doesn't matter what's the most popular brand going on, what's the latest trend going on. Like, at the end of the day, it's just going to be like some regular kid, like you just said, that just wants to go to a spot, light it up, and just like, hang out with the homies, chill, have some fun, and, document, their footage. Not, I'm out here trying to like skate in the latest sneakers because they're hot. It's like, dude, some dude might even go to Payless and buy some bullshit ass shoes just so he could like skate and rip them to shreds, just so he could be able to just like push for a week longer or something.
Yeah, exactly. And there's space for that stuff too. Like, there's nothing wrong with supporting skater owned and making commercials with some actual skate, like making a commercial for a skate shoe, that's actually owned by skateboarders. Like, keeping that in the hands of skateboarders is like key. So
speaking on commercialization, how do you feel about that in the industry? Like, for example, like Louis Vuitton, like their skate sneaker. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think it goes back to what I mentioned about like every brand's gonna want a piece of the pie and a bit of the clout and like just get their piece in it. But it's pretty, if you're a skateboarder, it's pretty easy to tell when something feels inauthentic, from a big brand like that. They could hire the right people to shoot the right photos and get the skater to wear the shoes to do the right tricks in them. But like at the end of the day, like there's certain things that you can see through. Nike isn't a skater-owned company, but I think what they do well is like they know, the big wigs at the top at Nike, like they know that they don't know skateboarding, so they hire skaters. So like, even though it's not skater-owned, that's why their marketing has worked so well, is because they just picked out all the industry heads and like brought them on board, and then they marketed the product in a way that they knew was going to resonate with the consumers, with skaters.
It's not like we just have our ideas, we're going to push it upon like the public and they're going to take it. It's like, no, we're actually going to get people who are involved in this culture and get their insight where we can blend, our product with, their mindset and, create something that we can both enjoy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So. And like they could make a living out of it and like, I have this idea that'll work to get skaters hyped. Okay, here's a budget, like go do it. So that's cool for them, so there is room and there are, as long as skaters are involved, even if it's not necessarily skater owned, if skaters are involved, good things really could happen. But for that Louis Vuitton example, like, I doubt they have like a skate marketing team behind that. It's probably just, I don't know, maybe someone at Louis Vuitton can reach out and let me know that they have their own marketing team, but I doubt it. I think it was just one person that made one call and made it happen, and they're going to make one shoe, maybe two shoes, and then call it quits. Like, I doubt they're here to stay, and even if they were, like, I'm not gonna fucking spend $400 on some shoes I'm gonna rip. If $400, it's probably more than that. I don't know anything about like Louis Vuitton, honestly, but I'm assuming it would be an expensive shoe, and there's no space for that shit here. Like if you want to be all hype, like that's cool. You can call it a skate shoe all you want. It's not a skate shoe if people aren't skating them.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. But going back to the shop though, what do you hope IDS would do for your community, like in the long run? Where do you want to see yourself in like 5, 10, 20 years?
I mean, we can't do anything for the community unless we stay afloat. So my baseline is to stay in business, and to stay in business, the reality is like we need to sell stuff. So, but I think it's gonna be a cool, we feed into the community and we want to help the community, so therefore they want to support us. So like there's this feedback loop, you know, where like so that we can stay afloat. So that's the baseline. And 5 years from now, I want us to still be alive and well, because we can't help the community unless we are being supported in that regard too. But that's not my main goal. My main goal isn't to like, you know, everybody knows skate shops don't make a ton of money. Like I'm not in this to make a ton of money or anything like that. Like it's all about, I think to sum it up in one word is opportunity, you know, just like giving the community, showing the community the opportunities that are out there. Because, I mean, I mentioned like traditional team sports earlier, and, you know, if you go to high school and you're a really good football player, you got the coach whispering in your ear, you got school administrators whispering in your ear, hey, like you can get a scholarship for this and you can go to college and you can, you know, play either pro football or work in whatever industry you want to work for. Like that doesn't exist for skateboarders unless it's, you know, at your local skate shop. And even then, like, you know, a lot of times like they're not offering life advice, you know? So yeah, I guess that's what I want to do is I guess I just want to shed light on what skateboarding is, first of all, to those who aren't aware, and then second of all, you know, those who are really deep into it and passionate about it, that like, you know, there's more to skateboarding than what you see at face value. You know, it really is it's fun as hell to skate with your friends. It's fun to go out and film. There's even more to it, which makes skateboarding so awesome. Like there's a whole industry behind it. You could really make a life out of it. So yeah, if you skate and you're passionate about it, and if you're like me and you're not gonna go pro, like you can choose to work in skateboarding and you know, make a career out of it. And I don't think enough people know that. I didn't know that. You know, like I learned that later in my late in my high school, like my last year in high school, like early college. That's when I really started figuring out like, oh, I can make a living out of this. I could work for skate companies or these brands that are in skateboarding. Yeah, so that's what I want to do. I want to show kids in my area what the opportunity was, because, you know, Lincoln Heights is a low income area. It's predominantly Hispanic and Asian American. Low, really high dropout rate, really low, you know, college admission rate. The cards are stacked against the community, and there's not enough people in the community that are being loud about the opportunities that actually exist. So that's what I want to do with the skate shop. Besides sell skateboards and get people hooked on skating, I want to also show people that there's more to skating. You know, obviously, if you got talent, like I'm trying to also, you know, hook you up with the shoe companies and the board companies, and like really put you on, sponsor you, and like try to do my best to give you that platform so that you can succeed. But you don't have to be, you know, kick flipping El Toro and shit to make a life out of skateboarding. There's many paths.
You're trying to be like, you know, a different pathway, like not just the average, like you said, like, you know, a person playing basketball, football star, like, you know, they have coaches, they have ways where people can look at them and give them opportunity. And, you know, you're opening up gates for other individuals that don't have the same type of, you know, drive to play average sports out there. Absolutely.
Because, I mean, it's always seen as, you know, skateboarding is very individualistic, and it's so cool, but so many people see it as like, oh, like he's up to no good, or like even still, you know, even in 2020, like, you know, older, you know, school administrators, or like, you know, the football coach, he's a skater, and he's like, oh, look at that loser, you know, like he's not part of the football team. Fuck that, dude. I think that shit's stupid. Like, who the fuck needs a coach? I don't need a coach yelling at me to tell me what to do. Like, I can go out and skate and not listen to anybody and still make a fucking living out of it. I don't need to listen to you. I don't need to listen to anyone. So I think that goes back to that defiance, you know. You can have that defiance in you and you can still succeed in life, no problem. You just have to know what opportunities are out there.
What first made you open up the online retail before actually having a brick and mortar?
Definitely COVID had a lot to do with it. You know, I would have loved to have had a brick and mortar store open already. But, you know, I just decided to take my time with the renovations and stuff. I have a day job too. So like I could only do and it's just me right now. So I can only do so much renovations with the time that I have. So I decided there's no real rush, especially with COVID and everything. But I did decide to put more emphasis on creating that online store with that time. Just because, like I said, the landscape, the retail landscape is changing. And like if you don't offer delivery, if you don't have all your products available online, then you're not doing it correctly. It's 2020. You know, you have to be able to market your products wherever consumers are, not just in the physical realm, but in the digital realm. So you need a website. If you work in retail, no matter whatever you do, if you're a hair salon or if you're I don't know, if you're offering any goods or services, you should have a website. That's the way that I see it. That's really the motivation. It's just like, it's 2020. I am younger, on the younger side in terms of just being a small business owner. So I guess I do have that knowledge of social media and digital marketing. So I know the importance of it, and I know that it's a free tool. You should be using it. So why not using it? Why not use it? So that was really the motivation. To me, it's like a non-negotiable part of business these days. You need to do it.
Totally agree. Very true.
Yeah. But sales aren't there yet. So go on the website and go buy some shit. No, I've sold a few things. We had like a little Black Friday sale and stuff. But I still think, digital marketing has a huge reach. But people aren't invested in the brand yet, or like our shop yet, because it doesn't exist in the physical space. And I think as soon as people start to see what we're doing for the community, once we're able to go full force, and once hopefully soon this COVID situation is a lot better, that we can host events, that we could do things in our shop, we could do a lot more in-person marketing. There'll be a lot more word of mouth, and I think that will eventually help out just our brand and help people understand what we're really about, as opposed to just seeing the skate clips that we post all day and asking you to buy the shoe that the skater's wearing in that clip. So I'm not too worried about it. It's an interesting time, and I think things could only get better from here. So you'll be seeing a lot more of us hopefully soon.
So where did the name originate from?
So there was a skate shop that we all grew up with in Lincoln Heights, and they actually had 3 locations all around East LA, and it was called IDS. It was called IDS Skate Shop. IDS Board Shop was technically the name of it. And that's where my mom bought me my first board, that all blank complete. That's where all like my homies got their first boards. And that's where the name came from. I guess it was to pay homage to that original shop, just because what it meant to me. And like, I was really cool with the manager there, and like I would go there almost every day to just kick it and hang out and watch skate videos and just shoot the shit. And like that really goes far for community members, like myself when I was a kid. And so I had this really good experience having the skate shop, and it closed in 2012, thankfully. It was the year that I graduated high school. So, I went on to go to college, and so like I wasn't really around the area for as often as I usually was, like in high school. Like, when I was in high school, I would skate to the shop. It would be like a 4-minute skate away. When I went to college, I wasn't around. But so they closed in 2012. So I got what I needed out of it, which sounds bad to say, but I had the full like skate shop experience. And ever since it closed, I was like, damn, like we got to open up another skate shop in the area ASAP, because like, I got my experience, but like I don't want to just take this and run with it. I want to give back and give that experience of buying your first board to someone else, and like provide that experience for other members of the community. So I like that name just because it meant so much to me personally. So I decided to run with it and open up IDS Skate Shop technically a different name. There's this Idea Sport Shop. This one's Idea Skate Shop. But we're also it's a little complicated. IDS, that previous skate shop stood for I'm Down to Skate. I think, I don't know. That's not what I would have named my shop personally. So right now it does stand for something different. We're technically under Inner City Deck Supply is our like business name. So our logo says IDS, but we are planning to like slowly but surely phase it into what it is. So like, yeah, people will refer to it as IDS for years to come just because that's what our logo is. But we are technically a separate business. Still with the same goal though. Still with the same goal to provide the community with a dope skate shop that they could actually be proud of and be stoked to represent.
Any advice you can give to other entrepreneurs out there in the skateboarding community?
I would say if you're younger, I would say just if you're younger, if you're under 30, you have time to make mistakes and just go for it. You know, like it's funny you call me a business owner because I mean this shop hasn't even opened yet. I don't really know exactly what I'm getting myself into. You know, I mean I went to college. I got my degree in marketing.
I don't think anybody, like any business owner, really knows what they're getting into until like they really like put their feet in the water.
Exactly. I don't want people to see this video 5 years from now and like have like, you know, my business tanked, and so like why the hell would they take advice from me? But either way, I think it's always going to be a learning experience, whether you fail or whether you succeed. It's always a learning experience, and that is worth something. Even if you do end up in debt. No, but in all seriousness, like if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to know when to just say go, just start, just really go for it, you know? And so, if you're younger, my advice would be to, you know, fail while you still have time, you know, like that's really it, and just pull the trigger and just go for it. And for people of all ages, if you're passionate about it, like make that your business, because you will succeed. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna succeed. I hope I do, but that would be my advice: is no matter what, whether or not you succeed financially or not, like the goal shouldn't be financial anyway, in my opinion. Everyone has their own outlook. Maybe that's why I'm not a millionaire yet, but there's more to life than just making money. It's about helping people and actually providing people with a better experience in this life that we all share together. So that's it. If you're passionate about something, share it with the world, and so find a way to monetize it and create a business out of it, and try to stay afloat so that you can continue to do that and make this life worth living and make your job fun. You know, because a lot of people work shit jobs that they hate. You know, there's so many people that do. I think most people probably hate their jobs. You know, like why else would a company pay them so that they can do shit that the leader of the company doesn't want to do? You know, there's so many jobs that people hate. You should just look into trying to make your passion a job as much as possible, and don't quit until that happens.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on in. You know, giving us your beginning, your story, and you know, some insight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is
Dude,
sweet.
no problem,
I can't wait
man.
to check out not only this one but all the other episodes and see how everyone does way better on camera than I have been, man. I'm never really on camera, so this is cool. This is a good experience. Again, a learning experience. So it's good.
Pleasure, man.
All right. Thanks, homie.
If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel to get notified when we drop new content. And thanks again for watching Swoosher Sweets, the channel where we bring it back with sneaker to the culture.